Lost Art of Fishing Stories, written by Andrew Cox. Get your copy today. Go to Amazon and search The Lost Art of Fishing Stories. The Lost Art Project, Veteran Voices with Andrew Cox. Preserving history, one veteran story at a time. Marine Corps League and Till Valhalla Project Ambassador. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast that's given a voice to our veterans. The Lost Art Project, Veteran Voices with Andrew Cox. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Project, Veterans Voices. I'm your host, AJ Cox. And today, we're giving thanks. That's right, because today is Thanksgiving. That's right. We're going to talk about that today, just me and you. It should be a good time. We're going to hear a couple of Thanksgiving stories from some of our crew members. But other than that, it's me and you. We're going to rock it out today. But if you're enjoying these podcasts, make sure you go to the website. That's thelostart.podbean.com. Go check us out. See what we're all about. There are a couple ways you can help support us. You can go to that website. You can click on the one-time donation link. Heck, you can become a patron with a monthly donation. You can go in and just buy you some cool merchandise, or you can go advertise right here on the podcast. A big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project, man. They're out there doing amazing things. You need to go check them out. You need to go help them as best you can. Go get some gear. Go support their mission. You can find them at tillvalhallaproject.com. Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps Veteran Service Organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member. All right, here we are. We're back. This is Thanksgiving Day. I'm so excited. We all love Thanksgiving. Why do we love Thanksgiving? I mean, turkey. Come on. You can't beat the turkey, in my humble opinion. You get turkey. You get to watch some football. Maybe you get to just enjoy the nice brisk weather that is coming upon us. But altogether, man, it's just a good day to give thanks to things. Thanks to everything that's been going on. Thanks to life. Thanks to whatever it is that floats your boat. Be thankful for it, right? And what is Thanksgiving Day? Well, that's our annual national holiday right here in the United States. And it actually is celebrated in Canada as well. But what is it? It's observed on the fourth Thursday. That's today. Man, I'm excited about it. It's actually comes from 1621, the Harvest Feast in Plymouth between the Pilgrims and I'm going to screw this up, but Wampanoag people, which are the Indians from that, Native Americans from that area. The original Thanksgiving in colonial New England were not just feasts. They were days of prayer for blessings like safe journeys or military victories. How is it, or how it became a national holiday? Well, the U.S., Sarah Josepha Hale, campaigned in the 19th century, and Abraham Lincoln proclaimed Thanksgiving in 1863 during the Civil War. Later in 1941, Congress passed a resolution, and Franklin D. Roosevelt officially designated the fourth Thursday of November as the date. Well, what are some traditions, right? We all have Thanksgiving traditions, right? A big part of Thanksgiving is the meal that was shared with family, with friends, right? Those traditional foods, right? Like the turkey. We all love the turkey. Some of us like it roasted. Some of us like it fried. Some of us like it, there's so many different ways. Some of us like it with all the stuffing, the mashed potatoes, the cranberry sauce, heck, pumpkin pie. I mean, come on. It doesn't get any better than all of that, right? And of course, there's parades, there's football games, there's charitable activities, there's turkey pardon, right? We all see the turkey pardon. That's a fantastic thing the president gets to do. And there's just so many different things that happen that we celebrate on this great, wonderful Thanksgiving Day. What are some myths, right? The first Thanksgiving in Plymouth is often romanticized, according to Britannica. The feast probably included venison or fowl, maybe not just turkey. It could be anything else, right? Fish, shellfish, stews, vegetables, beer, those types of things, right? The celebration back then was more of a social treaty rather than just a ceremonial dinner, right? A social treaty. That's a pretty powerful type of statement there. I mean, a social treaty, meaning that they came together to kind of show that, hey, we're going to work together, right? And if you can pull together lesser known facts or modern controversies around Thanksgiving, that's what you need to look at, right? What other things in Thanksgiving, what other types of lessons learned, what other types of things that happened back then, and that brought us into where we are today, right? So let's reflect, right? Reflect on how Thanksgiving is often seen as the family harvest holiday, right? But it has its deep connections in the military history. That exploring how the holiday origins, the evolutions, the modern traditions intertwine with war, national unity, and soldiers. Briefly, Britannica's article on Thanksgiving Day is where a lot of this information that I'm kind of coming up with. But we talked about those historical origins just a little bit ago, right? We talked about some of the food, right? It was a harvest feast, right? That harvest feast was like a 3-day event. It wasn't just a 1-day thing. It was like a day or a couple of days worth of events that they did to celebrate that unity. It wasn't just the meal, right? Now, Thanksgiving during war. Let's talk a little bit about that. So Abraham Lincoln, he proclaimed Thanksgiving as a national holiday in 1863. That was in the middle of the Civil War. And it's really, when you think about it, when we talk about soldiers, when we talk about the military and being away from home and stuff, and maybe we're fighting that battle, but it's kind of a peaceful interlude into what's going on in that war, right? A time to step back and really reflect on what's going on, what's happening, those types of things. A way to unify a fractured nation through gratitude is what happened back in the Civil War, right? They were thinking about those types of things. Beyond religion or region, a day where Americans could collectively give thanks despite internal conflicts. Man, that is awesome, right? And what military traditions, right? Modern military traditions, service members overseas or in bases often still celebrate Thanksgiving. They get the turkey dinner, they get care packages, those types of things. Now, is that always the case? No, if you're deployed in a combat environment, something of that nature, you may not get all those fancy things, all the great meals that, are there. But many times, I mean, how many times have we seen like the president fly over and he's over there serving and stuff like that on Thanksgiving? He's giving back to the troops while they're in harm's way and doing those things. An incredibly powerful message to show how important that holiday, Thanksgiving, is for the military when they're deployed, right? So servicemen overseas or in bases often still celebrate Thanksgiving all around the world. So it's not just those that are in combat. It's not just those that are home that get to spend it with their family. They also get to spend it with their other family, right? That military family. Maybe it's not a combat zone, but they're forward deployed, maybe in Japan, Korea, something of that nature. They're not in a combat zone, but man, they can pull together to their military family. Which is a fantastic, fantastic thing, right? And when we're talking about Thanksgiving and the logistics, think about that, right? The logistics to get all of that turkey, all of the dressing and all the good stuff that's being sent over, all that food, all of those types of things being sent over, preparing that food, getting ready to give it and feed those soldiers, those sailors, airmen, Marines, guardsmen or guardians. Just think about how that type of stuff has to get there, which is a really a remarkable feat if you think about it, right? But Thanksgiving was shaped during wartime, right? So what does that say about the holiday functions as a national ritual, right? Thanksgiving's origins, relationships with indigenous people, and how unity has historically excluded certain narratives, right? So we have to think about what are those things that are happening within the nation, and what are the things that are happening surrounding that holiday. What types of things are doing good? What types of things are kind of those myths that are not necessarily the best way to think about it, right? So service members across the nation, around the world, when they're celebrating, they all celebrate Thanksgiving differently. And you look at culturally around the United States, you look at regions, different regions celebrate it different ways, right? Different feasts, different scenarios of how they're celebrating, right? Maybe it's a small table with just the immediate family, or maybe it's a giant table with, your family from all over, and you're coming together for a gigantic feast. Maybe it's just friends that get together on that Thanksgiving, those types of things. So those are the types of things that I think about, at least. I always want to know, for you guys out there, what does Thanksgiving mean to you? I want to know what Thanksgiving means to you. What are you thankful for here on this wonderful day of Thanksgiving? Put it in the comments, right? Write down what you're thankful for. Let us know. Let us know in those comments, and I want to know what you're thankful for, because I'm thankful for all kinds of things, man. One, I'm thankful for God. I'm thankful for Him for giving me the family that I have. I'm thankful for my mother, my father, and my brothers and sisters that helped raise me when I was young and set me on the path, a good path leading forward. And I'm thankful that the time that I've spent with my wife, we're coming up on 30 years of marriage. This year's well, not this year, but technically next year is going to be 30 years. So June 8th of next year, 30 years of marriage. We're coming there. I'm very thankful for that. We have two beautiful daughters. We have a plethora of animals in my house. I'm not always thankful for all the animals, but you get what I'm saying. But I'm just thankful for so many things, and some of my favorite memories when it comes to this is getting to sit down with my family. And we didn't always fix a big giant turkey and those types of things. And sometimes we did, sometimes we didn't. But just getting to sit down and visit with family, and being able to bring friends, being able to bring those around us that are maybe a little less fortunate than us, and bring them in and let them celebrate with us, let them celebrate Thanksgiving. But those were some of my big memories. And of course, sitting down, we used to do, instead of turkey and those types of things, me and my wife, when it was just us and we were out and away from family on our own, out on a base in California or wherever we were at the time, we used to cook steaks on the Barbie, man, because the weather there, it was fantastic. So that's one of the traditions that we did. And we did that every year for a long time, unless we were coming in on the Thanksgiving we were here, being able to be with family and stuff like that. But yeah, steaks on the Barbie, ain't nothing wrong with that. Have some steak. That's a great thing, right? But what I want to do is I have a couple of individuals. I got Vic and I got Aaron from the crew. They recorded themselves talking about what they're thankful for, talking about what Thanksgiving means to them, those types of things. So I'm going to go ahead and play those for you so you can hear them.
Thanksgiving 2004 was a little rough. That was my first deployment, and we arrived in Al-Asad, Iraq in August of 2004, and we didn't go home until March of 2005. I missed my daughter's birthday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, my wife's birthday, and Valentine's Day. But Thanksgiving was the biggest one. Just prior to Thanksgiving, all the wives got together and sent a giant care package. And in the care package was a sheet. And it had 7 months on it. And so we could hang the sheet up in our MWR tent and count off the days. But the shift that I was on was the night shift. And we didn't have access to the chow hall. So all we had was these insulated green tubs of whatever the chow hall wanted to make us. And when you were on your react time, you had to take the Humvee and go get chow for everybody. And that was a little weird because you didn't know what you would get that night. Sometimes it was just cheese sticks and pasta, or rice and something that resembled beef. We had no idea what it was. But that particular Thanksgiving, we actually had turkey and dressing and all the things that made Thanksgiving for Americans. And it was nice to have a little taste of home in Iraq. But that was about the roughest one for me. Unfortunately, it was my only time to deploy, so it was my only deployment away from home. But it was still a rough one.
Some of our favorite Thanksgivings throughout our Marine Corps career. And, I'd have to say I was deployed for 3 of them. And I honestly have to say that all of them were very important and somewhat memorable, although I'm losing my memory quite a bit for the details of them. But just being away from home and being with, as we like to say in the Marines, our second family. Some of us our first family, our only family. But it was, relieving to know that you are surrounded by loved ones, if you will, even though, for those of us that had families, our loved ones were back home, holding down the home front and supporting us from home. So my first one I was away from home was in 2009, and I was in Iraq. And I will say the chow hall was really good on the FOB. For those that have been there, Camp Cupcake, Al-Asad, Iraq, whatever you want to call it. But let's just be honest, there wasn't a whole lot going on in 2009 in Iraq. So that was my first Thanksgiving away from home. My second one was in 2012 when I was on the MEU. We were actually supposed to be home for that one, but we got extended on deployment. On that deployment, we, cruised across the Atlantic, did an exercise in Africa, in Morocco, Africa, went through the Med, did an exercise in Jordan, continued through the Red Sea, down, into the Gulf, over in, by Kuwait, did some training over there. Pretty much spent most of the time in the CENTCOM AOR, but we were supposed to be home by November of that year, or on our way back anyway. So really, the first week of November of that year, we kind of knew it was coming, but we got told, hey, we were getting ready to do what they call a translant back across the Atlantic back to CONUS, and we got told, turn around, go back into the Med. We may have to conduct a NEO. For those that don't know, it's a non-combatant evacuation operation. So basically your job is to get all of the civilians, mainly American citizens, but there are some, as the world witnessed in Afghanistan in 2021, that we'll also get other people out as well. Anyway, all that to be said, so we're back in the Mediterranean in November of 2012, continue maintaining our readiness, just ready to go if something pops off. And we celebrated Thanksgiving on the ship. Now, for those who've been deployed on the ship, you don't necessarily get turkey for Thanksgiving dinner. It's usually for the holidays you get steak and lobster, which it's probably not the best, but it's some of the better food when you when you're aboard the ship. So I would say that was pretty good. And along with the small Thanksgiving celebrations that we did, amongst our sections and our units on the ship. And then my last one was in 2015, whenever I was on an individual augment tour in Qatar with a joint unit. It was actually a joint interagency unit as well. So we had civilian agencies, joint agencies, also a coalition of other forces, which was great because you got to experience the American Thanksgiving holiday, but those other countries helped celebrate it with you, which was great if you ask me. We helped them celebrate some of their holidays as well. So it just kind of builds that relationship that the U.S. has with our coalition partners. But those are the three that I spent time away from home. Outside of training, it wasn't a whole lot of training that I was gone for during Thanksgiving, but there was so many of them. Even back here in CONUS, that's continental the U.S. for those that don't know, but back here in CONUS, just getting together, Marines that don't go home during the holidays, or that some of them don't have homes to go back to during Thanksgiving. So you invite those Marines over and those service members over to your house, or you'll gather at somebody's house, and it's always a great time. So, from me and my family here in Florida, I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and definitely don't want to forget those that are forward deployed and don't get to spend time back home with their loved ones, but they're enjoying it with each other forward. So thank you all, and happy Thanksgiving.
All right. Well, we heard from Vic. We heard from Aaron. They just proved some of the things that we talked about, right? Deployments, being out and about around the world and still celebrating Thanksgiving, although it wasn't the exact Thanksgiving that happens at home with family. And as they both mentioned, right, you're away from your family, but your military family is there with you as well. Even though it's a tough, right? You would get to these types of holidays. That's tough for those guys that are deployed. So we as Americans want to try our best to give them the best Thanksgiving maybe that they could possibly have. And I'm not going to end it the way I normally do. I'm going to end this one with a quote, right, from that Thanksgiving proclamation from 1789. George Washington said these words. And I think I'll just end it with this. And for everybody out there, man, I thank you for everything that you've done. Thank you for being here on the podcast and supporting this podcast and helping us push this and getting our veterans' voices to be archived for future generations. But I'm thoroughly excited about what we've got going on. But thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for this platform. I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for all my friends and also my military family. All right. With that, George Washington said, "May God grant unto all people a spirit of brotherhood and peace, and a disposition to render unto him sincere and humble thanks." With that, I just want to say one more time, thanks for tuning in. Stay motivated. Change your socks.
No more 22. Honor the journey and finish the fight.